Welcome back to the Messy Bench. Slight change from previous advertised program at the end of the last video where I suggested I'll be working on a French AM radio full of PNP germanium goodness. Instead I've got this maritime GPS navigational computer from a friend. This needs a battery replacement. The memory backup battery is long expired, and I just said I'd do a quick replacement for him. Just making a quick video to see how it goes. So it's a SIMRAD CX33. On the back there's a bunch of ports. I think he only uses the antenna and connection to the rest of the boat. I don't think he uses the echolocation where he must use power. It's one thing I don't know how I'm going to test this once I've replaced the battery, because I don't have anything that'll power this up. I suspect it'll be give it back to him and check it works. So first thing, the screws are some hex abomination, so I'll have to find the right tool for that first. Well, testing the various bits I have down here, it seems to be a T20H screw, if that helps anybody. Unfortunately, what I can't find is my extender bar for the socket, and I can't quite get in there. So I'll come back when I've found a solution to that. And back with a T-piece handle, which will do the job. You probably don't want to watch me take all these screws out, so I will speed this bit up. Okay, that's all the screws loose. That's all the way on the floor, and get the screws out and put them somewhere safe so I don't lose them. There's a bit of corrosion on this lower left one. Actually quite a bit of corrosion now. Look down in the hole. Right, there were 6 screws, so I need to make sure I put 6 back in it. Find a tray to put them in. Right, 6 screws. My guess is I've probably got to undo these nuts. That just appears to be an earth. I'll take it off anyway. Yeah, I think if I undo these nuts, hopefully this will split apart and the front will come off. Just using a socket to take the nuts off. And something a bit bigger. So it looks like, just get a screwdriver in there. Yep, okay, that lifted it pretty easily. There's a bit of a gooey gasket in there and some corrosion down at the sides. Obviously this does live in a marine environment, so salt spray gets everywhere and corrodes everything. Right, make a bit more space. Let's just move you up so I've got a bit more view. Right, wider view of the bench. First time opening this, let's see what's in it. Right, couple of ribbon cables I'm going to be careful of. 1, 2, I only see 2 link it, oh 3, third one down here. Okay, let's get that one out first, as I can see that. That's just a clip. Okay, that one's out. How do these others go? They just push fit. And there are also clips. Lift the catch on each side. Not sure how obvious that is, but there's a catch on each side. Let's get a bit more light in there, might help. Catches here and here. Lever them up. And both cables are up. Right, that's the front entirely disconnected. The question is, where is the battery? This looks like it's just the display panel. Can't obviously see a battery. There's a sounder, there's a sort of beeper. Yeah, not much else. I'm going to assume it's down in here. Which probably means getting all of this metal plate off out the way. So back to finding the right screw for that. This is really gooey and horrible and sticky, and I've just got it out of my hands. Yeah, that's really sticky. Like it's meant to be grease, but it's just goo. Doesn't look like it's leaked out of a battery. It looks like it's stuff that's trying to leak in. Don't know. Smells faintly resinous. Don't know. Anyway, let's get these metal shielding off. That looks a bit smaller, probably that size. Smaller still. T10 apparently. Bring the screws back so I can lose them all at once. Lift out, yep. So metal shield lifts out. Something is a bit hot just behind that. Let's have a zoom down on it. So I can't see anything. It's obviously a battery there. Not on this side of the PCB. May have to have a look on the back side. Is this loose? Not obviously what's holding it down. Oh, all these connectors that need to push through. Okay. And that's a washer, it just pinged off in the hyperspace. Okay. Another washer. One of these clips. A clip. Right, unzoom a bit. That one, this one, which I didn't take off. Which I couldn't find anything big enough to do. That's going to be a pair of pliers job. Luckily not done up too tight. Washer and cover. Right. Does that push out, or do I need to take everything out? That pushes. Right. There's some link between this board and that board, of course there would be. That's what's causing us the hang up. Right, board is out. Let's I can see a battery, 3-volt lithium. So zoom down, there is our target. Apparently that's the problem, it's dead. Bring my absolutely ancient voltmeter in and get some idea of the voltage. Should be 3 volts. It's currently reading nothing. Yeah, well, the meter detects me. It's not detecting that as a battery at all. So that would be the problem. Right. I don't think that is a rechargeable. And if that date code is correct, June 2006. If you can see that, 0606. So yeah, that's some time ago now. So before I desolder this, I'm just going to mark up on the board which end was which. So we have positive this end and negative this end. Just make it more like a plus. Right. 3 volts, lithium, primary cell, non-rechargeable, and totally dead. So I'll get that unsoldered and then see if we can put something else in there instead. Right, soldering iron's warm. Give it a bit of clean. So it's here, and here need to come off. I think I'll put some fresh flux on the board. Flow some fresh solder onto the joints and then try to suck it all away. This solder sucker for probably 25 years at least. It's still probably the best one I've ever bought, but I can't get the tips for it anymore. Yeah, it's got most of the solder off. Just hit it with the iron to... doesn't want to move, it's stuck down. Not noticeably. Right. That's it. Gateway. Bit of wiggling, this should come out. Warning, risk of fire, explosions or burn, do not recharge, disassemble, crush, or heat above 100 degrees C, or incinerate. So don't do any fun stuff with it. Let's just check it out of circuit and see if there's any volts in it. I suspect it is totally dead. Yeah, it's basically totally dead. Right, find a replacement. Had a hunt around in the stash. What I was hoping is I could adapt one of these coin cell holders to the board, but the pin spacing is just not quite right. So I'm going to have to order the correct battery. So this video will continue when the correct battery arrives. Well, that was a few seconds for you and a couple of days for me while I got the battery. So a nice big box from RS with a half AA sized battery in it. Right, that's going in. Need to get to the level of where I've got to put the battery in, so a bit of tidying up first. So brand new 3-volt lithium. Let's just check the voltage. .327, close enough. Right, that's under no load. So the battery needs to go here. So I need to clean out those holes. Right. Back when it's done. I thought I was videoing the assembly, but it looks like the camera stopped. I didn't realise. But it was just a case of screwing the other board back down in there and reconnecting the board connects. Lift the tabs up, put the ribbon cable in, push the tabs back down. Just the screws around the edge to go back now, and we're done. Well, that was frustrating. I got the whole thing put back together and forgot the internal shield. So got to take the back off again, undo all the clips, put the shield back in. So yes, second attempt. So with the front off again, the shield needs to go there, but I've got to take out all the screws I've already put in to then screw this down. Yay. Right, that's in place. Put the screws back. I will fast forward this bit. Right, quick sanity check. All of the screw holes have screws in them. Let's get the screen back on. Pull the tabs up. Connect it back up. and just the last screws to go in. No rattle, that's good. And then the gaskets and covers for this. All the screws are back in, so now it's just getting all of these back on. Right, and that's it, back together, buttoned up. Gonna try and clean off whatever this sticky goo is at the side. It smells resinous. It's not solder flux or solder flux residue or anything, but it smells pine tree like. IPA doesn't seem to want to touch it. I don't know, maybe it did come off then. Yeah, okay, IPA and a good scrub does remove it, so success. I can't test this because I don't have anywhere powering it up, but I will get it back to my friend I'm repairing it for and hopefully get a photo of it in use on his boat. Right, anyway, very quick video replacing the battery in a SIMRAD CX33 marine navigation computer thing. Thanks for watching. I was hoping I'd got this SIMRAD CX33 plotter repaired, but we took it down to the boat, wired it in, and it did absolutely nothing. No power, no nothing. So it's back on the bench. We could check there was power getting to it up to the cable that plugs in just here in the power socket, but couldn't get anything beyond that. So it's back on the bench. I've got a copy of the manual, well, a couple of pages from the manual, which I didn't have last time. So we're expecting 2 of the pins. Not sure which way round this is, whether this is pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably a standard. But I know 2 of those pins are ground, and I know that's ground. So I should be able to beep out and get a rough idea what's going on. That's the plan. So if I come off of ground, overload on the meter, overload the meter. Yep, if you get beep. Nothing that side, nothing that side. Beep if that's pin 3, so pin 4. Nope. So only one of those pins is registering as negative or ground. I'd expect pins 3 and 4. We've got data. I'd also expect maybe pin 6, pin 8 to be ground. Yeah, something weird. I wonder if this is just not connected internally. Let's take it apart and have another look. Right, back with the screen off. So this is the power connector. Just to confirm that. Yep, second one over. No, it's not. Let's remember, this is the power connector. Right. Well, am I being dim in expecting this to be ground? Just zooming in a bit more. Give me a bit of corrosion on the board. So I've got 3 traces here, here and here connected together. These 2 traces are connected, 2 pins are connected together. So 1 and 2 for power, 3, 4 for ground. Are they ground? I would expect this to be ground. Are they using a split ground? I don't know. I'll come back to this when I've figured out what's going on. It's not easy to video this without getting a horrible glare off of the shiny metal. I just touched up all of those pads there. The middle pad that I thought was connected to these 2 isn't. It's a standalone, or it's a non-connected. That's probably a non-connect. But if you beep across there, nothing, reverse it, get a brief beep. So there's a capacitor charging up. Reverse it again, you get a brief beep. So I'm convinced these are the 2 power lines. Given the fact it says 1 and 2 is positive and 3 and 4, I'm going to assume this is 1 and 2, 3 and 4. I'm slightly concerned that 3 and 4 don't seem to go to the shield anywhere. I'll get the shield out the way, see if I can tack some wires on somewhere and actually power the thing up, see what's going on. Right, got the shield out of the way so it's easier to film. Get a bit more light on there as well. Make it a bit easier. So I'm convinced these are the power inputs. See it come through these filters. Ferrite bead and a capacitor. I've just scratched off a bit of the solder mask because the power comes through up to here. I still can't get any continuity between what I think is ground and the case. So what I might do is just try injecting power in here. If I go the way I think it is, where this is positive, that's good. I can see I've briefly charged a capacitor. So yeah, I think if I put some power in there, of course the annoying thing is I need the display on it to actually see if it does anything. I could try just tacking some wires on there and feed it from the bench supply. I think that'll be the next trick. Right, a couple of wires tacked on. Looking at the documentation, 10 to 32 volts, 6.3 amp slow blow. The wire I've used is not 6 amp wire, and the solder patches are certainly not going to carry 6 amps. So yeah, this might not be the world's best idea, but We'll see if it does anything. Right, it's wired up to a very current limited bench power supply. I've got the power supply is only good for 250 milliamps. Set to 13 volts. No display or anything, so just interested to see what happens when I switch it on. Immediately goes into current limit, and you can hear it trying to current limit. So it's trying to do something, which is good. Sounds like it might be trying to boot up, or yeah. So it obviously needs more current than I can give it from the power supply there, but no smoke. It sort of made the sort of noises I would expect. I'll move it over to a different power supply and give it maybe an amp and see what it needs, see if it's happy with that. Okay, completely janky. Different power supply, 13 volts, 1 amp current limit. Let's see what happens now. Same thing, it's going in the current limit. So obviously wants more current than I can give it. Let's take the limit off, so it should be 2 amps now. Okay, it was actually happy with that. It went up to it's sitting at about 250 milliamps now, so I think it was just charging a capacitor. Yeah, it's quite happy running at very little current. Just a shade over 250 milliamps. So I think I need to get the display on it and see what's happening. There's one thing I've noticed and something that slightly concerns me. This is the back, the display. It's the back of the display, and I think it's cold cathode fluorescent from memory. What I'm not seeing is anywhere where the power comes in to drive it. The only connectors to the rest of the board are these two flat flex, which I thought they're going to be trying to dump data down there, and half an amp and lots of other stuff. So yeah, I was kind of expecting to see another ribbon cable or a more substantial connection that I'd forgotten. Yeah, strange. Right, it's connected up. So it's drawing more current with the display connected, but still nothing coming on. Power. So it's drawing, what range are we on? It's drawing about 300 milliamps. There's really nothing on the display. Well, I know there's supposed to be data on some of the other pins. Not worth looking at those. back once again with this navigational computer. It's been sitting on the bench for a while, haven't done much with it. Got back to it now. Symptoms were it sort of didn't do anything. I'd changed the CMOS backup battery and then it was totally dead after that. One thing I'm noticing, the time it's been sitting here, there's a lot more of this sticky goo has appeared. I'm wondering if the panel is actually leaking or something that got spilt down in the panel and then it's all coming out. When you power it up off a bench power supply, it draws about 250 milliamps for a couple of seconds and it drops down to sort of virtually nothing. Suggests to me it's trying to boot up, it's trying to do something. I'd expect most of the power to be going into the panel, and if the panel's not working, it's not going to draw much current. The spec sheet says it's supposed to be fused with a 6 amp fuse, so I'm expecting it to draw, you know, a couple of amps, and yeah, really not seeing anything. There's, when it first starts up, there's a little bit of data access on the flash module here, which is where the maps and everything are stored. But yeah, don't really see much else going on. A couple of the clock oscillators on the other side of the board seem to be oscillating. The main package is a BGA. I don't seem to have any access around that. Yeah, kind of getting a bit stuck now. I don't really want to pull the panel apart, but that might be the next step, is just see what's going on here. Did a quick check of voltages on here. 11 volts seems to be going where you'd expect it. I'm not sure how they're doing the backlight on this panel. I think it's a cold cathode fluorescent, but I can't see where the high voltage for that's generated. There's a bunch of power supply circuitry on there, and the capacitors seem to be rated up to about 50 volts. So, but I don't think you'd want to be putting sort of sensible backlight voltages over thin ribbon cables, so maybe it's being generated internally in the panel. Anyway, that's where I am so far. Okay, I gave in and took this panel, just took the screws out. I was trying to, couldn't work out where the backlight was coming from. So there's a little inverter, so the cold cathode backlight is generated on this board, which makes sense. They're only running fairly low voltage up the ribbon cables. So I suppose, not quite sure what voltage this would be. Does it say on here? No. Quite a few turns on that. Don't really want to put the oscilloscope directly on it and fry my scope. Might go away and look up sort of typical cold cathode backlight voltages. Right, I'm more convinced that this panel has died. What I didn't appreciate when I was first looking at it is that this is the down side, so this way it would always be facing down, and there's all of this sticky goo, and it seems to be getting frame, seems to actually be coming out of the panel. It's all totally around here. It doesn't seem to be soluble in isopropanol. It's not soluble in water. It's just sticky and horrible. At first I thought it was like, you know, somebody's beer or something that got dripped into this, but it's all at the bottom. Yeah, it's... I think this panel is dead. Which would explain why nothing happens. I'm going to have a chat with the owner of this. Don't think he's around until after next week. and look to see what we do with this. It's a shame because the main board seems to be operational. It's just this panel. Maybe there's a dead one on eBay and we can do a swap.